Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I'm fine. Kisumu is also fantastic. Maybe you could let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are outside the republic. Yesterday, Batwana, an international organization, released their report of Kenyan general election, which was held on the 9th of August 2022. In that report, Raila Odinga emerged the winner. The body actually worked very closely with IEBC informers. And I did a comprehensive analysis about the whole story, and it's doing so well on YouTube. So if you missed it, you can check it. But the question which most people asked in that video, or have been asking, is what next for Raila Odinga? Can Raila Odinga lead his troops to State House and forcefully take over? That's very remote. But what can he do? In this video, I want us to look at what next for Raila Odinga after those information emerged. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please, I want you guys to take a second only or two, press that subscribe button now so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, I want to appreciate my friend Ngige Wanjoy, who comes from Kirinyaga. I really appreciate you, man. And now let us dive in. What next for Raila Odinga? Yesterday, the Azimio la Umoja addressed the press, and in their address to the press, they stated that Raila Odinga is expected in the country in the next few days, because he's out of the country in South Africa. And when Raila comes back, then Raila is going to give Kenyans direction. This is what he's saying. It's saying that in a few days, our coalition leader who is abroad will be arriving in the country, and we shall give Kenyans a way forward. Which means the moment Raila Odinga arrives in the country, they will give Kenyans a way forward. Raila Odinga has always maintained that he has certain information with the truth, and that he will tell Kenyans what really transpired. So according to this statement, Raila Odinga will give Kenyans directive. And Raila Odinga told Kenyans at what point that they should just relax, because he's not going to allow his victory to be stolen again. What is Raila Odinga going to do? So let us wait for Raila Odinga to come. Let us not speculate. But what next after this particular report? For me, if you ask me, Raila Odinga has these 5 options. The first option for me is to dig deep for more details and more information. It's only the truth which shall set Raila Odinga supporters free. As we speak, there are those who supported Raila Odinga and believed that Raila Odinga was going to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. Up to now, those Kenyans are still hurting. So it's only the truth which shall set them free.
Participation of people is central, and the justice that
Kome. Saizi ndo umepata mdomo ya kuongea ukweli. Saa zile sisi tunafinyika hapa, unga imefika 300, sukari 400 na mafuta ya kupika 700. Ndio unaongea. Tuache na amani. We are waiting for Baba to say something so that we can act. Na bado kitunguu ya hegi inaendelea kunuka. Kala ukala huko. Tunaumia, ndio saizi ndo unajua participation yetu ni muhimu.
Which means Raila Odinga will have to go deep. he will have to spare time and produce the evidence. If indeed this IEBC insider has this evidence, they will be combined. If Raila Odinga and his team were able to gather certain evidence, even after the Supreme Court, then they need to have all those information. And maybe after that, tell Kenyans that we went for an election, this is how we performed, we were rigged out, this is what happened at State House, at the Supreme Court, and right now, this is our option. We want to take over government by force, or if it's not possible, they're going to tell Kenyans that because already this has happened, they want to move the country forward, but they're going to move in this direction. So Raila Odinga must dig deep. If there is video evidence, like for example, when results are normally announced, there are people who normally record. So if, for example, there's a place where this was recorded, then what was announced at Bomas is different. Then they can use those as evidence. But they must get to the bottom of this thing. That's, for me, is the main thing Raila Odinga must do. He must get the truth and relay the truth to his supporters. Number two is the electoral reforms. If indeed it's true that Raila Odinga won, but his victory was stolen, it means there is a weakness in our electoral system. And Raila Odinga and the team must now identify those weaknesses in our electoral system. Not necessary for them, but for prosperity. So that if there's a chance that someone who is in power or someone who has influence can use the IEBC to procure services, electronic services, which will then be manipulated. So as Kenyans vote, some people are seated somewhere keying in the results. Then, in my view, Raila Odinga must pursue electoral reforms. And for me, I've always stated here that I will not forgive Raila Odinga for failing to initiate electoral reforms when Uhuru was the president. For example, if Raila Odinga had initiated electoral reforms, I'm sure someone like Wafula Chebukati probably would not have presided over this election. Or if he was to do that, then there's a lot of leeway in how procurement of IEBC electoral materials are conducted in this country. They would have been done differently, in my view. So for me, if you ask me, Raila Odinga can now use this loophole to push for electoral reforms, because William Ruto is already focusing on 2027 election, how he's going to win, how he's going to rig. He's so focused on that. And that's why he was trying to heap praises on IEBC. He knows that these guys are going to push for electoral reforms, and therefore the only way to stop electoral reforms is to paint Wafula Chebukati, IEBC, as the angels, while Raila Odinga and the rest as evil. So for me, electoral reforms, the push for it, is what Raila Odinga must push for, whether it's going to run for the presidency or not. Number three, Raila Odinga can then now embark on what he was calling consultative rallies across the country. When he first called for these rallies, I think it was not well thought out. And the first one, the way his supporters were really optimistic, they turned up in large numbers. But because of international pressure, the US and the British, he had to call them off. But now is the time for Raila Odinga to actually go to the people with enough evidence and tell people that this is the truth. Tell people that in your area, we got this number of votes. This is what we were given. He can go to Nyeri, for example, and tell them that in your region, I got this number of votes. This is what I was not given. And probably because I got these votes, I know there are people in this region who voted for me. Please, when I stand again or when we sponsor someone again, please ensure you vote for that particular person. So by doing that, they'll get the sympathy, especially in their strongholds. And by doing that, William Ruto's government legitimacy will be put to question. And that is something which has been really worrying William Ruto. In fact, I've always opined here that the main reason why William Ruto is very bitter and very angry is because of legitimacy. When he went to Nyanza, strategically, he was able to win that legitimacy. But now this report is denting that legitimacy. Remember, for example, Oburu Odinga, who attended some of his functions, was quoted yesterday saying that Ruto did not win the presidency. So they need to go back to the people, but with this clear message. The message about the truth about the 2022 general election. The fourth option, which for me is not really the best, is that they can start focusing on 2027. And the biggest question then would be, who will be their presidential candidate? And are they able to hold or to unite until 2027? So for me, the 2027 general election is key, but they must push for electoral reforms first. They must get the details of what happened, and they must go to their strongholds and tell Kenyans, because Kenyans are asking several questions. For example, one of the questions which Raila Odinga supporters are asking is why they couldn't even provide a single evidence before the courts. Elections in Kenya is normally electronic, but it's also manual, where you go, you are given a physical paper, then the votes are counted, then relayed electronically, but the results are also announced right at the polling stations. The forms are filled there. Who had access to the results? Who was the NASA agents? So we must focus on 2022, but that's not a priority for me. And lastly, they must also lead Ruto to where he wants to lead them to. William Ruto has called for a commission of inquiry on what took place at the Bomas of Kenya. That's a very good opportunity for Raila Amolo Odinga and the group. Why is it a good opportunity for Raila Odinga and the group? It will be an opportunity because a commission of inquiry will invite people to go provide evidence, talk about what they know. And because now they have the truth, they can go and present this truth before this commission. Then it will be upon this commission to write the report. So if William Ruto had planned to use this commission of inquiry to implicate, for example, NASA, to implicate people they wanted to target, people like Cherera, then it will be a very good opportunity for them to go before that committee. For example, assuming Raila Odinga goes before this commission of inquiry with his evidence that this is what happened at the Bomas of Kenya. These were the results. Why did they happen the way they happened? What were IEBC announcing? So it would be good for the country. But again, commission of inquiry, which is controlled by the government, can be counterproductive. But again, since most of these things will be public, everybody and anybody will have a chance to present, they can use it so that the public will decide, basically taking it to the court of public opinion. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.